Masculine energy versus boy energy. Masculinity isn't aggression, it's grounded direction. And that matters because a lot of what passes for masculinity today isn't strength at all. It's noise, it's reaction, it's insecurity dressed up as confidence. In this episode, I want to talk about the difference between masculine energy and boy energy, not from a theoretical place, not from social media trends, but from real life, leadership, responsibility, pressure, failure, and accountability. This isn't about dominating anyone. It's not about posturing. It's about how a man carries himself when things aren't easy. Because the truth is, masculinity doesn't show up when life is smooth. It shows up when things are uncomfortable, uncertain, or demanding. So let's first talk about emotional control versus emotional chaos. Let's start with emotional control because this is where the difference shows up first. Boy energy is emotionally reactive. It lives in extremes. When something feels good, it overindulges. When something feels bad, it explodes, withdraws, or spirals. Anger turns into outbursts. Insecurity turns into defensiveness. Disappointment turns into blame. That's not strength. That's a lack of regulation. Masculine energy is different. Masculine men still feel emotion, but they don't hand emotion the steering wheel. They feel anger, and they pause. They feel frustration and they think. They feel desire and they choose. Emotional control isn't about suppression, it's about containment. It's the ability to experience emotion without leaking into it, leaking everything around you, without letting it dictate your next move, without turning every feeling into a reaction. That's why calm men feel powerful, not because they're empty, but because they are disciplined. So next, we'll talk about the need to be right versus the need to be effective. Boy energy needs to be right. It argues, it defends, it explains. It wants to win conversations, even if it loses respect. Masculine energy wants to be effective. It asks, what outcome actually matters here? What's the best move? Not the loudest one. What serves the long game? A masculine man doesn't need to prove his intelligence in every room. He doesn't correct people just to assert dominance. He doesn't chase validation through debate. He understands that silence, timing, and restraint are tools, not weaknesses. Effectiveness always outperforms ego. So let's talk about the builder mindset versus the consumer mindset. This is one of the biggest divides I see. Boy energy consumes, masculine energy builds. Boy energy is focused on what do I get? What feels good now? What entertains me? Masculine energy is focused on what am I creating? What am I responsible for? What am I investing in? A consumer thinks short term, a builder thinks in time horizons. He understands discipline compounds, comfort has a cost, momentum is built slowly and lost quickly. This shows up everywhere: your health, your finances, your career. In your relationships, a boy wants outcomes without structure. A man understands structure, creates outcomes. Masculine energy doesn't wait for motivation, it operates on standards. So next we'll talk about direction versus drift. Boy energy drifts. It reacts to circumstances, it follows emotion, it lets the environment decide its direction. Masculine energy has direction, not rigidity, not arrogance, direction. Even when the path isn't perfectly clear, there's an internal compass. Masculine men don't constantly announce their goals. They don't need applause to stay consistent. They don't crowdsource their identity. They move quietly and steadily. Direction creates gravity. People feel it without needing it explained. That's why leadership isn't loud, it's coherent. So next, let's talk about responsibility versus excuses. Here's a hard truth. Boy energy explains, masculine energy owns. A boy will tell you why something didn't work. A man will tell you what he's doing next. Responsibility isn't about blame, it's about agency. A masculine man understands that ownership equals power. The more responsibility he can carry without collapsing, the more capable he becomes. Masculinity isn't freedom from responsibility, it's capacity for responsibility. That's why responsibility is attractive. It signals competence, it signals reliability, it signals strength under pressure. Let's talk about attention seeking versus self respect. Boy energy seeks attention. It wants to be seen, it wants to be noticed, it wants external validation to feel real. Masculine energy operates from self respect. It doesn't rush rooms, it doesn't force impressions, it doesn't posture. A man with self respect doesn't need to convince anyone who he is. His actions already do that work. Self respect creates boundaries, and boundaries create stability. Presence over performance. Boy energy performs. It changes mass depending on the room. It adapts its values for approval. It confuses charisma with character. Masculine energy is present. Presence comes from alignment. When thoughts, values, and actions match, that's why true masculine men feel grounded. They're not juggling personas. They're not managing impressions. They're congruent, and congruent is rare. So why does this matter now for? We live in a time that rewards reaction, outrage, instant gratification, emotional extremes. Boy energy thrives in that environment. Masculine energy resists it. It slows things down. It filters noise. It chooses deliberately. And that's why masculine energy feels scarce today, not because it's outdated, but because it requires discipline. So in closing, let me leave you with this. Masculinity isn't about overpowering others. It's about mastering yourself. It's emotional regulation over chaos, building over consuming, direction over drift, responsibility over excuses, presence over performance. And this isn't something you're born with or without. It's built, decision by decision, standard by standard. That's what bold and better is about. Not becoming louder, not becoming harder, but becoming stronger, clearer, and more grounded over time. If this resonated with you, stay with me. We're building something real here. Take care, and we'll be back again soon.